You guys waited 2 weeks for this, so let's pick up right where we left off. Number 25, off their Get a Grip album. Amazing. Song was released in 1993. This is Aerosmith at their most emotional, but also at their most polished. And that's exactly why it sits at number 25 instead of climbing higher. This is like a championship level team that executes perfectly all game, but never lands a knockout punch. You respect everything about it, but it's not the one you remember when the season's over. It's in the key of A minor, and all five songs that we're going to be going over today are in standard tuning. That's what Aerosmith usually plays in. The piano is what really drives this song. It's centered around an open major feel with this D, A, B minor, G progression. That helps do most of the emotional lifting and leaves a lot of space for Steven Tyler to just live in the vocal range here. And Steven Tyler is really doing two different performances here. In the verses, he's restrained and almost in like this storytelling mode. But when the chorus hits, he opens it up completely. That's where you get those big melodic leaps and that full emotional delivery. The bass is simple, but that's the point. It's mostly root notes, locking everything in and just supporting the emotional build instead of trying to stand out. Same thing with the drums. It starts super controlled and almost minimal, and then it opens up into that full backbeat feel, snare on 2 and 4, and in the end it's just full emotional lift with crashes and openness. Now I want to talk about the guitar work here. This is where I actually want to show you guys something. Alright, so basically what Brad Whitford's doing on the rhythm guitar is he's playing this clean channel, and he's just playing a simple D to A to B minor to G. He does that for a majority of the verses. But the trick here is you want to play it almost in perfect sync. Like, he's so perfect with these chord hits, it sounds kind of radio friendly. And that's honestly why it's not a top 20 song. Brad Whitford plays exactly on the downbeat as it's happening. Joe Perry, when he plays the lead parts, and sometimes when he's doing little rhythm power chords, he's always a little bit behind the beat. And that's the trick to his style. You gotta be behind the beat, but you don't want to be so far behind the beat that it throws a rhythm off. So you gotta be lazy and sloppy, but not lazy and sloppy, if that makes sense. So for the lead part with Joe Perry, basically, how you want to play this is you want to almost act like you're falling out of your chair as you're playing. So just kind of get sloppy and loose with it. Because this is all about feel. But don't be too sloppy and loose to the point where you're just playing noise. Now watch. The palm muting and the way I approach hitting these notes is what really gives it that Joe Perry feel. Obviously, I'm not Joe Perry, but I'm trying to get you guys as close to the original as I can. So let's see. Now, I'm not going to play the exact notes that he plays on this because, to be honest with you, it's not going to matter. Once you master that feel, as long as you're playing the right scale, you'll be able to do just as good and with your own taste to it. So check this out. We got Brad Whitford playing through this but on clean. D, and I'm just going to do like this a little bit. A, E minor, G. Let me see if I can't fix my camera so you can see it actually. Slide man, wrong way. All right, yeah, look. Okay, so B, A, B minor, and then what Joe Perry's doing is he's doing a lot of volume swells, like, so you're gonna play with your little volume knobs over here. Check it. Probably can't see me. Times in my life, and then he'll come like Just kind of that little thing, but it just adds touch. Obviously, he's better at it than I am. And that's kind of the trick to the sound, just kind of creeping in the back, building the tension. Like I'm just playing on the A scale right here. So, or not the A scale, but playing on the blues scale, basically working around the A power chord. Focusing on the G string and the D string mostly, and the A string here. So, check it. And then he's playing, okay, so you get the volume swells. And you'll notice he plays that in like the Rocks album too. So it's definitely not just this one song, it's kind of his style. Um, and then you just, so you can play around with that a little bit. All I'm doing is just twisting the volume knobs and kind of being precise with them, but just, there's no rhythm or rhyme to it. You just do it however it sounds nice to you. And another cool thing he's doing is these little blues licks over that progression. So he's not really playing chords like Brad Whitford, but what he's doing is, so like Steven Tyler be singing that, there were times in my life when I was going insane. And then he'll be like, or let me see, it's, I think the actual riff lick he plays at one point is 333. So a lot of full bends and a lot of blues scale type notes, just working around that A power chord, and you can come down here with the, you'll hear it. If the note's right, it'll sound right. And here's something important. This song comes from Aerosmith's early 90s comeback era, when they were rebuilding their sound and working with outside writers. Lyrically, Steven was pulling from some very real personal struggles with addiction and recovery at this time. So when you hear that emotional lift in the chorus, it's not just production, it's real life coming through the performance. And that's exactly why it's a great song. Just not quite at that untouchable level of their absolute best songs. Number 24 off their Pump album, The Other Side from 1989. This is Aerosmith at their coolest. It's got swagger, groove, attitude, and one of the funkiest pockets they ever recorded. The only reason it stops at number 24 is because while it's undeniably cool, it never quite reaches that next level of emotional impact or iconic status that the songs above it do. The song is like that guy who walks into the room wearing a leather jacket, says about 10 words all night, and somehow everybody still thinks he's the coolest guy there. It doesn't try too hard, it just knows exactly what it is. It's in the key of E minor, and the tuning standard, like I said before. Steven Tyler almost treats this like a rap at times. The verses are rhythmic, conversational, almost teasing. Then, when the chorus comes in, he stretches everything out and gives you those huge melodic hooks without losing any of that swagger. Tom Hamilton is the secret weapon here, though. He's not just following the guitar, he's helping create the groove. Listen to how locked in he is with Joey Kramer. That's what gives this song its bounce. Joey Kramer absolutely owns this track. It's a straight ahead rock beat, but every snare hit feels deliberate, and his pocket is ridiculously deep. This isn't a flashy drum performance, it's a lesson in groove and restraint. Now we're going to break down the guitar. Okay, so for the other side, this is Brad Whitford's little part. From what I can tell, he's just chugging on the 7th fret, 9th fret power chord here. So top string, 7th fret, next two strings on the 9th, the A and the D. And he's just chugging here, like in a rhythmic kind of way. Almost sounds kind of ZZ Top-ish. You can just kind of play around with it. You're going to play exactly like him, but just get the feel for it. Very precise. And then on top of that, Joe Perry's actually playing the riff, which is. Now, see how there's no real rhythm to that, but there is. It's sloppy. It's a little behind what Brad's playing because Brad's just straight hitting it, but it's just got that sleazy kind of 70s feel to it. Now, I played it differently that time, but you can barely tell. It's the same kind of idea. And what you're doing is basically just working around these root notes here between the 7th and the ninth frets. One string up and one string down, because it's basically these power chords. And then you drop one. So, and that's pretty much the guitar work for that one. What's brilliant is that none of these guitar parts are difficult individually. The magic is in the feel. If you rush it or you overplay it, the whole song loses its personality. Sometimes the hardest thing to play is something that's supposed to sound effortless. And here's something cool about this one. The Other Side was co-written with songwriter Jim Vallance, who also worked with artists like Bryan Adams. Aerosmith had started embracing outside collaborators during this era, but they still made the song sound unmistakably like Aerosmith. The song also sparked a copyright dispute because of its use of a vocal phrase inspired by Curtis Mayfield's People Get Ready. Rather than becoming a prolonged fight, the publishing credits were just adjusted to acknowledge the influence. That's why The Other Side is an easy certified banger. It has groove for days, incredible attitude, and one of the coolest pockets in the Aerosmith catalog. It just doesn't quite have that career defining moment that pushes it into heavy hitter territory. Number 23 off the Greatest Hits album, Come Together, from 1978. Covering a Beatles song is one of the hardest things you can do in rock music. 9 times out of 10, you're just reminding people how good the original was. But somehow, Aerosmith actually made the song sound like it belonged to them. This cover is like borrowing somebody else's classic muscle car, dropping a bigger engine into it, and somehow giving it back better than you found it. That's a dangerous game, but Aerosmith somehow pulled it off. It's in the key of D minor, standard tuning again. Steven Tyler doesn't try to imitate John Lennon, and that's exactly why this works. Instead of sounding mysterious and laid back, Steven makes the song feel louder, grittier, and even more dangerous. It's still recognizable, but it's unmistakably Aerosmith. The bass is the heartbeat of the song. That famous walking groove keeps everything moving while giving the guitars plenty of room to breathe. It's simple, but if you lose that groove, the whole song loses its identity. Joey Kramer keeps the beat heavy and deliberate. There's nothing flashy here. He just leans into the groove and lets every snare hit land with authority. It's rock solid from start to finish. Now let's do the guitar breakdown on this one. So for Come Together, basically what Brad Whitford's doing is he's playing like a, well, let me do this first because it'll be easier. Joe Perry's playing the main riff, but he's playing it dirtier and sleazier than the Beatles could ever dream of. He's starting on the 10th fret here on the E. That's not the 10th fret. Here's the 10th. And most people think he hits it again, but he doesn't. He just kind of slowly slides and lets it fade. The sound fade. That gives it that sleazy kind of sound. Watch. And then he's actually saying shut up. It took me the longest time to realize this, and my ear still refuses to hear it that way. Listen. He goes, 2 mutes on the 10. Shh. So that kind of masks the sound too, why he can pull it away. But it sounds like another downbeat, but it's really not. And add some vibrato on that last note, which is the 10th fret of the D and the G together. So it's. And then underneath that, Brad Whitford's playing something like this. It's like a descending riff playing around with the open E, open D, and then third fret A, second fret A, and then open. It gives it that kind of tension feel that you get with the riff with that when you put it together with Joe Perry's part, the Aerosmith recorded Come Together for the 1978 movie Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, where Steven Tyler actually appeared as the future villain band. Rather than copying the Beatles, the producer Jack Douglas encouraged the band to lean into what they already did best: dirty guitars, blues swagger, and Steven Tyler's unmistakable voice. That's a big reason this cover has stood the test of time instead of feeling like karaoke. It's one of the rare Beatles covers that fans of both bands generally respect, because Aerosmith didn't try to replace the original, they just reinterpreted it. And that's also why Come Together is an easy pick for certified banger territory. It's one of the best rock covers ever recorded because Aerosmith respected the original while still having the confidence to make it sound like their own band. It just falls short of heavy hitter status because, well, at the end of the day, it's still a cover, and the songs above it are original Aerosmith classics that define who they are a little bit better. Number 22, off the Get a Grip album from 1993, Cryin'. This is Aerosmith proving that you don't need the biggest riff or the flashiest solo to write a classic. Sometimes all you need is an unforgettable melody, a huge chorus, and Steven Tyler singing like his life depends on it. That's why Cryin' is an easy certified banger, but just misses heavy hitter status. This song is like a heavyweight boxer who wins every round with a perfect jab. It's not throwing knockout punches every 30 seconds. It's just so fundamentally sound that by the end, you realize you never had a chance. It's in the key of A major and standard tuning once again. This is one of Steven Tyler's best melodic performances. The verses are controlled and conversational, but once the chorus hits, he stretches into those huge sustained notes without ever sounding forced. That's harder to do than it sounds. Tom Hamilton does exactly what a great bass player should do. He supports the harmony, locks in with Joey Kramer on the drums, and gives the chorus that extra weight without ever becoming distracting. Joey Kramer keeps this song moving with a steady, confident groove. The drums never overplay, which is the big part here, and they simply build with the song until the chorus feels bigger than the verse. That's smart arrangement. Here's the guitar breakdown for this one. So for Crying, here is exactly what Brad Whitford's doing. He's on a clean channel again. So what he's going to be doing is, and he's doing this very precisely, but he's not killing the strings. And that's what gives it that kind of power ballad feel without destroying the actual sound of the progression. So see, he could be coming through here like, that sounds messy, sounds forced, and it just throws the complete sound off. This song sounds beautiful, really. And it's because he knows just how to hit the chords just right to give it that flair and let Steven Tyler kind of weave in between the chord changes. So basically, what he's doing here is a masterclass in dynamics. Again, it's not hard, but a lot of guitarists just want to kill it, and it's not the best option here. So he's working on the A chord. He goes, there was a time when I was so... Oh shit, I played the wrong chord. It's a minor, not a major. Alright, let's restart that. Alright, you guys don't make fun of my singing too bad. It's 3 in the morning. So basically, here you go. You start on the A. There was a time... Go to the E. F sharp, minor. And I was so Broken hearted. Come down here. Back to the D. I wasn't much A above E. Play through it again. And E, and then lets it linger kind of. And then it comes back in. And Joe Perry, what he's doing here is he's just basically kind of doing little fills and the volume as well as like we talked about in the last one. And he's using a wah wah pedal, which is an interesting little effect to use in this song because it really gives it that bite to go along with the heavy power chords without overdoing it on the track since it is kind of acoustic backed. Now again, he's not just opening the wah wah and closing it, making these loud wah sounds like you hear on like Voodoo Child. What he's doing is he's playing it so that it actually sounds like he's crying along with the song basically. So I don't have my wah wah with me right now, but I'll use vibrato kind of to show you. Kind of get the idea. And now we're going to hit up the last song of part 7, number 21, off their Pump album, Love in an Elevator, from 1989. This is Aerosmith doing exactly what Aerosmith does better than almost anybody. Dirty riffs, huge hooks, tongue-in-cheek lyrics, and enough swagger to fill an arena. It's one of the most fun songs they've ever written. The only reason it comes in at number 21 and not higher is because the songs above it don't just have swagger. They become defining moments in rock history. This song is like that guy who walks into a casino wearing sunglasses indoors, throws his keys to the valet without looking, and somehow actually wins. It probably shouldn't work, but the confidence is so ridiculous that you just go along for the ride. It's in the key of A major, and the tuning is standard still. Steven Tyler is having an absolute blast on this track. The verses are playful, full of character, and packed with little vocal inflections that make the lyrics come alive. Then the chorus explodes into one of the catchiest hooks Aerosmith's ever written. It's theatrical without feeling forced. Tom Hamilton quietly glues this whole thing together, though. He's following the groove, reinforcing Joe's riff, and adding just enough movement to keep everything bouncing. It's another reminder that great rock bass isn't always flashy. It's about making everybody else sound better. Joey Kramer really drives this song with a straight-ahead rock beat that's all about power and consistency. The fills never get in the way, and every crash cymbal feels earned. He's given the song energy without ever pulling attention away from the riff. Here's the guitar breakdown for this one. What I love about Joe Perry's playing is he never overcomplicates a great riff. The parts are actually pretty approachable, but if you don't play them with the confidence and the swing, they completely lose their personality. This song isn't testing your fingers, it's testing your feel. Steven Tyler came up with the idea for Love in an Elevator after a real elevator ride in a hotel. It also became the lead single from Pump, announcing that Aerosmith wasn't just back. They were entering one of the strongest commercial runs of their entire career. The song helped set the tone for an album that would produce multiple major hits. It's a perfect example of Aerosmith taking a ridiculous concept, committing to it 100%, and making it sound effortlessly cool instead of gimmicky. That's why Love in an Elevator is an easy certified banger for me. It's pure rock and roll, infectious riffs, huge hooks, killer performances, and a personality that jumps out of the speakers. It just misses tier 9 because the other songs on this list are so much better. So for this one, Brad Whitford's basically just hitting the power chords in the chorus with such a full sound and exact precision like we talked about. I hate to keep saying that, but that's just basically his style of play. It's so precise. And Joe Perry, he's playing the iconic intro riff by barely touching the slide onto the strings. I don't have my slide, so I can't really play it for you. But the thing is, most idiots will push down too hard on the slide, and that's one quick way to screw up the sound of this riff. You want to be gentle, and you just want to barely graze, just enough to make the sound, you know what I mean? Come across, make the slide, make the difference in the sound. But you don't want to like shove it all the way down and make all the, because what that does is it presses all the strings down and it makes this like fat, kind of messy sound, and you don't want that. It doesn't sound like the song. So remember, be nice and gentle when you're playing the riff. Like I said, I don't have my slider, I'd play it for you right now, but like I said, it's all about feel, and you don't have to kill it. That's going to do it for part 7. If you're mad about where these songs landed, go cry about it in the comments. I'll be there waiting. And I'll see you guys next time when we break down the top 20. Peace.